All right, let's get into it. Today we're doing something a little different. We're not just going to read through a list of technical specs. No, we're going to jump right into the hot seat of a high-stakes job interview for a senior Oracle database administrator. Our goal here is to really deconstruct the questions and, maybe more importantly, the answers that show you what true mastery of a super complex, business-critical system actually looks like.
So, how do you really get a handle on a role this big? Well, we're going to break down the kind of questions that separate a true senior expert from the rest of the pack. This is where all the theory you've learned meets the real world, and where years of hands-on experience get put to the test in just a few minutes. All right, let's dive right in.
So, picture this. You're in the interview chair, and the first question comes your way. It's a big, open-ended one, and it's really designed to see if you understand the sheer scope of the job.
Now, a great answer here isn't just rattling off a list of tasks. It's about showing that you see yourself as a strategic guardian of the company's data. You don't just do performance tuning, you architect systems that are built for performance from the ground up. You're not just running backups, you're designing the entire disaster recovery plan. And, maybe most importantly, you're mentoring the junior folks and planning with other teams. It's all about leadership, not just technical chops.
Okay, so after that big picture question, the interviewer is going to drill down. They want to get to the technical bedrock. They need to know if you really understand the engine you're supposed to be driving.
You know, the most powerful answer here is actually a really simple one. At its core, it all boils down to two things. You've got memory structures to hold stuff, and you've got processes to do stuff. That's it. Everything else, all the complex features, all the knobs you can tune, it all builds on this one simple foundation. If you get this distinction, you're on your way to diagnosing almost any problem.
And this is where it gets really cool. Check out this analogy. The SGA, or System Global Area, is like a big public library. It's a shared resource that everyone connects to. All the common data is right there. The PGA, on the other hand, is like your own personal desk space. It's totally private to your session, and it's where you do your own work, like sorting a bunch of data. A real expert knows exactly how to manage both that public space and all those private desks to keep everything running smoothly.
And here we go. This is the classic scenario, right? The phone is ringing off the hook, the application is slowed to a crawl, and literally everyone is looking at you. So what's your first move? A senior-level pro doesn't just start guessing. You have to have a method. You're like a detective. You start with the evidence, the AWR and ASH reports. Then you follow the biggest clue. Where's all the time being spent? Then, and only after you've done that, do you identify the actual culprit and apply a very precise fix. It's always about diagnosis before you write a prescription.
And this is the secret weapon right here, DB time. So why is this one metric so important? Well, because it tells you if the problem is actually inside the database to begin with. Think about it. If your system's CPU is pegged at 100%, but your DB time is super low, guess what? The problem is probably somewhere else. This one number can save you countless hours chasing ghosts in the wrong part of the system. Okay, so the interviewer is narrowing in. Performance problems very often come back to one single, badly written piece of SQL code. How do you tackle that?
A real expert isn't going to just start rewriting code. No way. They start right here with the execution plan. Before you touch a single line, you have to understand the database's strategy for getting the data. This plan is its roadmap. Is it taking some scenic back road when there's a direct highway available? Being able to read this plan is probably the most critical skill in all of SQL tuning. You're not guessing, you're looking at the database's own logic and figuring out a smarter route. Okay, the interview is shifting gears. We've talked about speed, now we're talking about safety. The questions are moving into protection, resilience, and your ability to recover when things go wrong. This one is a real fundamental concept.
And this slide just lays it out perfectly. This isn't just a technical choice. It's a business decision. A hot backup keeps the business online 24/7, but it's definitely more complex to manage. A cold backup is way simpler, but you have to take the application down. A senior DBA gets these trade-offs and can recommend the right path based on what the business can actually tolerate.
All right, now for the million-dollar question. This isn't just about recovering from a failure anymore. It's about building a system where the user never even sees the failure in the first place. How do you build something that, for all intents and purposes, just does not go down? A truly comprehensive answer here isn't about one single technology. It's about creating layers of defense. You use different tools for different types of failures. I mean, think of it like a castle, right? You've got high walls, you've got a moat, you've got guards at the gate. Each one protects you from a different kind of threat. Let's actually take a look at how these layers build that fortress. So first up, you've got RAC.
This is your protection against a component failing inside your data center. If one of your servers crashes, the other servers in that cluster just instantly pick up the slack. For the users, they never even notice anything happened. This is what we call high availability.
But what if the whole data center is gone? A flood, a fire, whatever. That's where DataGuard is your hero. It's an exact synchronized copy of your entire database, just sitting there waiting in a completely different city. And that's the key distinction, right? RAC is for high availability, protecting against local failures. DataGuard is for disaster recovery, protecting you from a total catastrophe.
Okay, the focus shifts again. The database is fast, it's resilient, but is it secure? How do you protect the company's single most valuable asset? Its data.
And just like with high availability, a pro knows that security is not a one-and-done kind of thing. It's not a switch you just flip on. It's a constant process of defense in depth. You limit who can get to what, you audit everything they do, you encrypt the sensitive data so it's useless even if it gets stolen, and you are constantly patching against new threats. It's a posture of continuous vigilance. Now this question, this is what really separates the seniors from the juniors. The interviewer wants to know if you're a firefighter always reacting to problems or if you're an architect building systems that prevent the fires from ever starting. And the answer here really reveals a certain mindset. You automate the routine stuff, backups, health checks, reports, not just to save yourself some time, but to reduce human error and make the whole system more reliable. Automation is what frees you up from being a technician, so you can be a strategist, focusing on the really complex performance and architecture problems that need your expertise.
All right, we're coming to the end of the interview, and this final question moves beyond what you know today. It's about your plan for tomorrow. Technology is changing all the time. How are you going to stay on top of it?
So a killer answer here shows you're not just passive. You're not just waiting for a book to come out. You're actively digging into the official documentation, you're learning from the community on blogs and forums, you're getting your hands dirty in a lab environment, and, this is a big one, you're teaching others. Because honestly, that's one of the best ways to really solidify what you know. In tech, if you're standing still, you're actually falling behind.
And that pretty much brings us to the end of our interview breakdown. As we've seen, the true mark of a senior expert isn't just about knowing the right answers. It's about having a systematic way of solving problems. It's about understanding the business reasons behind your technical choices. And it's about having a relentless commitment to keep learning. Which kind of leaves us with a final thought, right? Maybe the ultimate sign of mastery is just recognizing that you're always a student.